All right, last week I was devastated. Not only did I come down with COVID, but I wasn't able to have one of my favorite guys on the podcast. So I was ready to have Coach Gallagher on here, preview UConn Manhattan. Got sick, couldn't do it, but I said, you know what? His team has played both UConn and Kansas. So who better to have on the podcast to preview this game than Coach Gal? So Coach, welcome. I'm glad we were able to get this going.
It's great to see you. I'm glad you're healthy.
Thank
We
you.
got we got a great we got a great matchup with the Deuce, ESPN, Kansas, UConn Friday night. So
Yeah.
let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's start with this. We'll look at your game against UConn first. That was a more recent game. You guys nice Friday matinee there against the Huskies. Give me just some overall thoughts from your perspective getting to go up against this team in person.
I mean, I guess I said it. It's like best thing I could say is what I said about when I studied them. When you played Danny's teams in the past, you know, it was a street fight. Um, he can take you into the library and beat the debate team now. So they can beat you on the street and they can beat you in the library. So what I mean by that is they can win an ugly game, tough, physical. They still have that. It's in their DNA. But the stuff they're running, um, you know, is so high level. He's really he deserves a lot of credit for developing that side of his coaching. I think we talk about players developing. I think we talk about I think Coach Hurley's really he's just added to his pitches, and he could throw a lot of different looks at you, and it's not a one pitch guy anymore. And that one pitch was elite. Now he has so many different ways to beat you. So that jumps out at me as the biggest thing is the overall development of the program, and like they're going to be a championship program for for as long as he's there. They'll be a top five program, top eight, grade eight, top eight, because they're so talented, they're so tough, and now their offense is really sophisticated.
Mhm.
So it's like every set. I mean, I've watched and watched and watched, and even when you go zone, it's hard to go zone with a 7'2" guy in the middle.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
It,
It's really, really hard.
as you watch this team on film in prep for them, then you go actually play them. Was there, player or two that stood out to you that was like, impressed you, or you're like, wow, compared to seeing them on film, like you see them in person now and they're even better than they look?
Well, I think it's fascinating you say that. Like Caravan on film, like I said to Tom Moore the day before, I don't know if I like. Did you really think he was a first round pick when you got him? Like, and like there's no doubt in my mind he's a first round NBA pick. It's not even. I mean, watching him live, Caravan's he deserved. I mean, these guys deserve a lot of credit because you could tell they live in the gym, they live it. It's great to see. And then obviously the size of Klingman.
Yeah.
And I look, we played Kansas, and we matched up against Hunter. I just thought the movement of Donovan. I mean, he's one of my favorite. I've rarely said like he stayed in at his high school. He
Yeah.
didn't run away. He didn't go to a prep school. He stayed in his town. He stayed at the local powerhouse college. Could have went anywhere. There needs to be a lot of like, hey,
Some credit for
he,
that. Yeah.
yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, he deserves a ton of credit for that. Um, and then obviously, uh, like if you look at their roster, if you go like Newton to me, like he impacts the game in so many ways.
Hmm.
He just impacts it. And then Cam Spencer, the best thing I can say is, you know, Villanova doesn't win championships without, Gillespie and Arcianato. Like they were key pieces to those
Mhm.
teams. Spencer reminds me of how he fits in here. Um, it just the pace of play, the way he plays. You combine that with, uh, I mean, they got guys that just come in off the bench. Um, like for me, Samson Johnson has just been so impressive.
Yeah, he has. I know he stood out to a lot of people so far.
Like, like, so, like, I always say this. Uh, UConn has an answer to every question you have. And the thing I would say about it is, if you look at it, how will they it's at Fog, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So listen, I've been all over. I played in Cameron. I played down at Louisville. I've been down at Carolina, the Dean Dome. Uh,
Yeah, how's the atmosphere there?
it's it's such an advantage. Such an advantage. Now, this is what I'll say to you. I was rolling, 3 and 4 freshmen out there at a time,
Yeah.
uh, and we're just starting our program. I think it'll really really be good for UConn because they're so mature and they're so like the game's going to come down to very simple things. The ball screen coverage. How does Kansas handle? Because
Mhm.
Danny's going to put Hunter Dickinson in ball screens every chance he can. Every chance he can. The reason Klingman's an NBA first round lottery pick is he handles his movement. He has better movement, and you
Mhm.
could see it live. Like if I was an NBA GM, I could go to one game, go to another, and I could see the difference.
Yeah.
That's not knocking Hunter. That's not knocking him. He's a great college player. He's one of the best to do it at the college level. Just that next level is a different, you
Tier,
know,
yeah.
it's a different tier. Like Klingman has some east west movements that are just better. Um, I think it'll be a great matchup. I think Hunter will present some problems. Step away from three.
Yeah,
How
that
does
was the question I had. Yeah.
yeah? How does Danny decide he wants to guard that? Does he send Klingman out to him? And then all the actions that. Well, here's what I would say. Of all the compliments, like me saying about Danny's development, Bill Self, I know he gets great players. He coaches them extremely hard.
Mhm.
They're extremely well disciplined, and uh, he ran a set last night against Eastern Illinois. They were flat. They weren't. I think maybe it was that. After Maui, then you got UConn.
Huh.
You're not.
That sandwich in between, yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard game, and I would say like I watched it, and I'm thinking, what's he going to run here? He ran a great play out of a timeout. It was a cross screen up, a diagonal cross screen up screen for Hunter. He got an M1 on it. Um, you know, I know this sounds crazy. Uh, the pace of play. Uh, if UConn's getting ball reversal
Mhm.
and running their stuff, I think Kansas is in trouble. If UConn gets sped up like you haven't seen before, um, I think that'll be a factor. That's something to watch for.
Mhm. I'm curious as you've been kind of going through these two different teams here. I think everyone knows, Hunter's going to do what Hunter's going to do in these games. You see teams do whatever they can to try to slow him down. He still gets his. Who's that other guy or two that you're kind of keying in on when you look at that Kansas roster, as like, hey, if Hunter's going to get his, here's who we're trying to shut down next.
Yeah. So like you got Hunter, all right, obviously, and then like in my opinion, KJ Adams, right?
Yep.
he's just a handful physically. He's just he's he's an X factor as far as like, he does it all. He's 11 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game. He's a guy that just does it all. And then, you know, I think for them to reach their peak,
Mm-hmm.
Kansas's peak, Furphy's the kid. He's the sixth man, seventh man coming off the bench. The kid from Australia, I think it is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, he's a Melbourne kid. So like he's 6'9", 6'10", and he did something in our game. I was fascinated. We back cut him. He was open, and he just took a foul. He took a hard foul, and I thought, man, that he has an edge to him. Kid has an kid's. I like that kid.
Yeah.
And then DeJuan Harris, the point guard, like I didn't think he could shoot. I was so mad at myself for not going under screens. And then I watched the game. He bangs 5 threes in a game.
Yeah.
And he's only averaging 6. He's not shooting a ton. He's just trying to get everybody else involved. He's an X factor. And then, obviously the preseason player of the year, who, Kevin McCullough, in my opinion, he's averaging 18 and 7. The Texas Tech transfer.
Yeah.
He is so talented, and he's averaging 18 and 7. So you have to be ready for his athleticism and his burst of speed in their half court offense. Like he lulls you to sleep, and then he just is by you. And once he gets his shoulders by it, it's really, really hard. So, look, I think UConn matches up great with them. Great with them. The thing I think you'll see is this. There's so much what Danny's done a great job of. There's so much sweat equity with the UConn program. And there's so many new faces with Kansas.
Yeah.
That, like, if you watch the Marquette game, which I stayed up and watched every play because I'm just fascinated by it. It's like you watch it, and what stands out to you is Marquette kind of just punched them, and they were throttled.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see for the first time they were throttled. Then I watch, UConn, right? And I studied them, and I watch them, and I'm thinking, they throttled Indiana.
Yeah.
And then they throttled
Texas.
And you're thinking, even when the game got close, it got to 4, right?
Yep.
Against Texas. There was just no blink. That's why I like watching. Like, I genuinely like watching the UConn team because just nothing phases them. They're a championship program. They have championship coach. They have everything is, and I know there's a debate about, do they go to the Big 12? They should never, ever, ever leave the Big East.
Yeah.
Ever. They should never. In my opinion, I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I wouldn't do it because at the end of the day, I rooted for UConn football because I'm from, I lived here and I wanted them to win. And my neighbor was Dan Ryan, the old football player for UConn. At the end of the day, UConn basketball is a national championship. Like I got interviewed, and after I left Kansas, and I said, they said to me, "What's the most impressive thing about Kansas?"
Yeah.
And I said, "It's not Kansas." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You want to know the most impressive thing about coming here? Is that Jim Calhoun built a program that won 5 national championships."
Yeah.
I left Kansas, and the first person I thought about was, how did Jim Calhoun do this?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jim, he won, Coach Calhoun won 3. Kev won 1. Danny's won 1, but the program's won 5.
Yeah. It really is
I mean,
crazy when you think. Yeah.
go, as many people out there should go to Fog, walk around, understand there's a museum there. The rules were bought by one of the alums for like $7 million, but the deal was they had to be put in. They put a museum in, and it's in a remarkable place. But when I left there, my first reaction was, I mean, UConn is a blue blood. UConn's a top 5 program. When Jim Calhoun got there, right?
Yeah.
5 years prior, before they were in the Big East, they were finishing 6th in the ACAC. 6th. They couldn't win. I mean, fast forward.
It's crazy.
What third? I mean, and I think, look, I'll say it. I think Danny's the perfect coach for the state, for the program. Here's my worry, right? If you ever left the Big East, I don't see, like, I can tell you right now, because I'm in the fraternity, there's movements around the country. I don't have to say the schools.
Yeah.
Those guys, those basketball coaches aren't staying at that school.
Yeah.
When the teams that, I'm not saying who they are, the Pac-12 going to the Big Ten, they're not. In my opinion, and I'm not saying one of them, I'm saying many of them.
Yeah.
Because there's better fits out there.
Yeah.
You're going to go play a game. You live on the West Coast. You're going to go to the East Coast 6 times a month.
Yeah. Go from, Oregon and go play Rutgers, Maryland, all those.
And then, or you're Stanford and Cal, and you're going to Duke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy what's become of college athletics right now with all the realignment stuff. So,
and, I think somebody famous said it. Somebody in the Big East office might have said it. It's the line, college expansion has hurt more than it's helped.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think a lot of people would agree with that.
And I think from a Connecticut standpoint, my question is, this is the biggest thing. Has it hurt or does it help when you left?
Yeah. No. It was a different program when they were in the American.
You couldn't recruit. Guys, I have some news for you. You cannot recruit. And you could say to me right now, well, if they go to the Big 12, in my opinion, it's harder.
Yeah.
It's harder. You're in the Big East. You have an identity. You fit the identity. I have no horse in the race, but I want to see UConn stay in the Big East because the Big East feels such a great basketball league.
Yeah.
Like they got right now, they have 3 teams that go to the national championship.
Yeah.
Creighton.
Yeah. UConn, Marquette. Yep.
And then I know Villanova lost tonight to the Hawks. I must plug that. But Villanova, after the weekend, looked like a different team.
Yeah, they did.
Up 35 on Memphis. I mean, the day before they beat North Carolina. Yeah. So look, the Big East is very healthy. And this matchup Friday night will be great because for college basketball, to get, and that's why I love what Danny's done with the schedule is just like, we're going to go play people.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at the 3 out of the next 4 games are Kansas going to Seattle to play Gonzaga, and then you get North Carolina at the Garden. I mean, I don't think it gets much tougher than that.
And they're playing with extreme confidence.
Yeah.
I'm look, when we were at Hartford, we won four high major games, right? And you go into those games and you hang around. Great teams don't let you hang around.
No.
And I have there was just no hang around in the
No,
game.
I'm going to take a quick break from the interview to tell you about my friends at Martin Rosol's Meats. This fourth generation Connecticut family business produces kielbasa, hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats using Martin Rosol's very own original recipes. Their products can be found in grocery stores, delis, restaurants, and hot dog stands throughout the state. And if you're looking for your fill right away, check out their retail store in New Britain. For more information, visit martinroselsinc.com and go support a UConn fan-owned business. And now, back to the interview. I think when you look when they beat New Hampshire the other day, it was the record for consecutive non-conference games by double digits. And I think a lot of those games against mid-majors, when they're beating them by 20 plus in those games, is a sign because, you mentioned Villanova St. Joe's tonight. You see on any given night, a lot of these mid-majors can hang around, and to be able to put away teams to the level they have is, to the extent they have there, has been pretty remarkable.
Do you understand how hard it is?
Yeah,
First off, from a preparation standpoint, every night you're preparing. All right, what do they do based on out of bounds? What do they do sideline out of bounds? Do they do zone? Are they pressure? Do they trap the ball screen? Do they go under? Do they drop coverage? Do they switch?
Yeah.
How do they do it? What do they do? How are we reading it? How are we attacking it? And they're so well prepared. And then we try to throw different looks at you. I'm not saying we, coaches.
Yeah.
And they're prepared for it.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that have gone into the success of it, but it's been Danny's leadership. Like, how many years has he been there?
This is 6, I think. I think it's 6.
I don't think you could do it any quicker.
No, especially
and
if
what he's done
the right way. Yeah.
What he's done is he can outscore you. They would always play defense. Like, the most excruciating UConn game that I felt for was the Maryland loss in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And I think he really, really said, we're going to get shooters.
Yeah.
We're going to go get scorers. And I'll make them tougher. And what he's done is, they're not going to play a game in the 50s.
No.
They're going to get 50 at half, close to it. And that's what he's done. Like, when Joey Calcaterra came, we had offered him at Hartford back when he was at Marin Catholic. Our first player ever was Mike Turner. Mike Turner coached him.
Okay.
And so Mike Turner was calling us saying, take him. He went to San Diego, played for my old assistant, Chris Gerlison, who Chris is doing a great job at San Francisco. They're good. They beat Minnesota the other night. But you watch, and he's really, really focused on taking shooters.
Yeah. You look at a guy like Cam Spencer this year to fill that shooter role. They've been selective in the portal and going and getting those guys to fit what he's looking for.
It's a great thing. It really is. And the identity is the most impressive.
Yeah. No. I know we talked though, and I don't want to keep you too long, but as we've been talking about, the environment there and how Fog is compared to some of the other places, you've been to, even if you've got a more mature team in UConn and you've taken more mature teams on the road to some of these tough places to play, is it still something that kind of just, takes you a couple minutes, into that game to get acclimated, kind of get, a feel for things in an environment like that, no matter how experienced you played? Some of these guys played in front of 75,000 people in a national championship game, but still going to a place like Fog with a crowd like that has to be something.
It's here's what I would say. It's going to take you, I don't think it'll take them long, because what it'll just be the experience. They won that. Now, Fog's different.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I've watched so many games, and then I went there, and they're right on top of you. There's no glitz or glamour. There's no suites. This is a gym. This is an old school gym. This is the Palestra,
Yeah.
maybe on steroids. Okay. And the fans are on top of you. And it's the best fan base, like, meaning, I think they're the most respectful. Like, the story I heard was Rick Barnes, when he was at Texas, he used to walk around the corridor. Fans would talk to him. And he told the security guard, "You don't have to stay with me." That's the fans are very,
Yeah.
very, like, you know, now maybe they won't be for UConn, okay? But it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I really
And I got the final score for you.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
87-83 Huskies.
Okay. All right. You're gonna make a lot. I mean, I think from this appearance, you're gonna make a lot of people happy, whether it's staying in the Big East, that score there. I mean, you
Well,
gained a lot of fans.
I just want what's best for the state. And listen, when UConn wins, it helps everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I said this to Danny one time. I said, you know, you should get a little piece for every bar or restaurant that's packed in the state. Because when he goes on a run,
Yeah.
they're jammed.
Yeah.
And he gives everyone something to look out for.
Yeah. I mean, look at Friday afternoon game. What, they had 14,000 or so for you guys there
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. I was like, I mean, that's a testament to what he's built. That's a testament to the fan base. And look, I think the shocking thing for me
Yeah.
is that they weren't 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. No. Hey, look at you're speaking the UConn fans' language tonight. I mean,
No, I said it from the get-go.
yeah.
Now you lose, like, they lost.
Yeah,
They lost,
they lost
but,
good
like,
pieces. Yeah.
but they still, like, I wake up and I still see Caravan, NBA player. I
Yeah.
see Klingman, NBA player. Like, name me another team that's rolling out 2 or 3 NBA players right now.
Yeah.
And then their unsung heroes really, really, really embrace their roles. Like Samson Johnson, I mean, he'll be a factor in this game coming up.
Yeah. No,
I mean, he's my X factor in this game, by the way.
okay. All right. I like it. You gave us an X factor. You gave us a final score. I mean, you gave us a little bit of everything tonight. So got a lot from this one. So I really appreciate you coming on, giving us a good preview here. I hope you enjoyed the nice return here back to Connecticut last week. And
we were 1-1,
yeah,
1-1. So
there we go.
we're trying to big. We start conference play Friday night. So after the conference game, I'm gonna pop that game on in my office. Get prepared for my game on Sunday.
Yeah, and you'll be back here because you guys play Fairfield now in the MAC. So
Fairfield and Quinnipiac.
Yeah. There you go.
And then next year, Anthony Latina.
Yeah, I know. I remember having you both on. Now you guys can be in the same conference. Got some fun stuff. We'll have to have you both back on again next year in advance of that one.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Coach, as always, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming back on.
Thank you.